Okay, I believe we're live. Good evening. Welcome to Emergency Hedge. How's everyone doing?
I'm very good. I've had a really good day, as I was telling you just before you went online. I've had some secret good news that I can't tell you about, but people watching the channel may hear about through the grapevine anyway. I also had some public good news, which is that I got a new job today, so I'm very excited.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I forgot our little tagline intro. This is the channel where Jessica teaches me how to play Netrunner.
And Dave teaches me how to play Arkham Horror. I left a space for you to do it, Dave. I was a consummate
I wasn't
professional.
quick enough off the draw.
But I just, when you didn't do it, I just rolled with,
Yeah.
you've got to, this is live TV.
The show
at the end
must
of the
go
day.
on.
It must. Should it? We don't know, but it must.
Do you want to check whether it has actually gone on?
Yeah, let's find out if the show
Yeah.
has indeed gone on. I do believe we're more professional than when we started, but that is a low bar to clear.
Absolutely, yeah. We're inching towards professionalism at a glacial pace.
Yeah.
But we are going to get there one day, I think. But it does sound
we are
like
live.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we are. We're
fantastic. So this week we are going back to Arkham.
Arkham.
I'm pretty excited about this. We are going to be playing to the Forbidden Peaks. But before that, we're going to have a look at spoilers because there are loads.
Loads.
There are. An absolute ton of them. And you can see my screen, right?
I can.
Fantastic.
I mean, there really are loads. That was ages ago, wasn't
it? It has just been a week as well. Like, we have a few times this autumn missed 2 weeks and then had a lot to catch up with. But this is just 1 week's worth of spoilers. And I'm afraid there are so many, I can't remember who did them all. I think we had Optimal Play do the first 3. I'll see whether I can remember the others as we go. So first up, we got Prismatic Spectacles, a 2-cost Seeker asset with an intellect pip. It's item, relic, and curse traded, and it has an action that allows you to add 1 curse token to the chaos bag and as a cost, and you investigate, get +2 skill for the investigation, and if you draw a curse token during the investigation, you can exhaust Prismatic Spectacles to discover an additional clue at your location.
Cool. This does a cool and useful thing.
Yeah.
It's 2 experience, which you may or may not already have said.
I forgot, so thank you for saying it.
My gut reaction is that this is good, but I would probably spend my 2 experience somewhere else first if I was min-maxing.
I think that's true. I think it's okay as a clue acceleration asset. Maybe a little bit overcosted in terms of XP if you just wanted to use it for that. And there's also the wrinkle of you can't necessarily control when it works, but the fact that it doesn't have uses, so it theoretically can fire a lot of times, it sort of adds odds on the plus side of the scale. But yeah, I think you would definitely want this if you are running a Seeker build that wants to have curse tokens in the bag, and you probably wouldn't if you weren't. But I think it's nice for dripping curses into the bag, because you can just use this instead of a basic investigate, and obviously you've got the skill boost as well.
As we have so many, shall we speed through them?
Yeah. I thought you were going to make another point about this one, but I'm happy to move on from it.
No, I decided not to. I think I can end up talking a lot about a single card, and it's sensible to just keep rolling when we have about 7 or 8 of them.
Next up, we have Drain Essence. Do you want to read this? Can you see my screen well?
Yeah, I can see it.
You read.
So Drain Essence is a no XP, a 2-cost Mystic event, and it's a spell, which Agnes will like. And presumably some other mystics. I don't know about the game yet. And it says Parley. Choose an enemy at your location and test willpower X, where X is the chosen enemy's fight value. If you succeed, Move 1 damage from your investigator to the chosen enemy, up to 2 damage instead. Chosen enemy is non-elite. I like this. I think this a bit of damage mitigation in Mystic is great. It's a card slot, which is possibly the weakest part of it. Something you can play once in the whole game. Maybe more than once if you have ways of getting these spells back from. I was going to call it the heap from your discard pile.
It's just a discard pile. Yeah, I don't think there's a special terminology for the for it in here.
They sensibly didn't make a load of confusing terminology for Arkham. I do appreciate that about the game. That said, doing 2 damage and removing 2 damage from yourself at the same time on a non-elite enemy is pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. I think like a single use 2 damage heal event for 2 cost is just on the slightly expensive side. And the fact that you have to pass a test, like if it was testless and did that, it would be a bit meh. But I think better in Mystic than some other classes which have other options. Like Mystic has quite a lot of horror healing and not loads of very good damage healing, but the move, so the adding together the doing damage and healing damage in effect is pretty cool. I feel a bit sad that Hank Sampson, as far as I remember, can't take this.
I don't know Hank Sampson, so you'd have to enlighten me.
Hank is, I'm thinking of the slightly thirsty descriptions he sometimes gets, which I needn't detain us here. He is the farmhand who is the survivor coming in Hemlock Vale, and he has sort of the I want to take damage investigator like niche turned up to 11. So he takes damage and his main investigator card doesn't do very much, but once you've defeated his main investigator card, you get to choose between 2 other versions of him. So like he can tank an awful lot of damage, and then he gets like super powered in one or other ways. One of his alternates has got the highest fight stat of any investigator ever, so he's got a 6 in combat, which we've not seen before. But have we gone silent, Jessica?
I've not gone silent. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Cool.
Okay.
I was just checking my mic, which is why I did that.
Okay, cool. That's fine. But yeah, the drawback, I think, of that very powerful fighty ability is that he can't be healed. So once you've flipped him over to his like Hulk side, you can't use any of the healing, like usual healing cards to heal him. So you kind of have to, you want to speed run damage, and then you want to like completely avoid getting damage, except for a few cards that we're starting to see in this expansion and elsewhere that move damage instead of doing healing.
Yeah,
if you follow me. So I'm a bit sad that he can't take this, but it looks all right. And
yeah,
certainly if you are running a Mystic and you are starting to take some physical trauma, I could really see this being a nice little include.
Yeah, Mystics generally have good willpower anyway, but I feel like if you're going to play this card in your deck, you want some other ways of passively increasing your willpower too, because you really want this to work. You don't want to spend 2 resources and an action and a card to do nothing. That sucks.
That is not how you win the game.
It's not.
Happy to confirm that. Okay, let's move on. We've got Fake Credentials. That's a 3 cost rogue asset with a intellect pip, item and illicit traded. And you can tell we're sort of 8 years into the game now by every single card pretty much having like a massive block of text.
Yeah, absolutely.
So takes up a hand slot. For an action, you choose an enemy at your location and exhaust fake credentials. Parlay. Test 1 intellect. This test gets +1 difficulty for each suspicion on fake credentials. If you succeed, discover 1 clue at your location and place 1 resource on fake credentials as suspicion. If you fail, you must either discard fake credentials or the chosen enemy attacks you. What do you think of the art on this one, Jessica?
Okay, I like the art. I was about to just jump in and say that I do not like this card. I think it's bad, but I like the art on it.
I've done a 180 on the art since I saw this. I was not convinced by it when I first saw it, and I've really come around to it. I think it stylistically it's a bit different from what we've seen in the game before, and I wasn't sure about it, but I am now prepared to take the art into my heart.
I think we're seeing something this card and the previous card have in common is they use parlay to fight. I don't know what other support there is for that stuff that boosts your stats when you're parlaying, etc. Fine Clothes does that, right? Fine Clothes has got some sort of parlay effect.
The level 0 Fine Clothes doesn't have a parlay effect. It boosts your parlay tests. The upgraded Fine Clothes has a parlay action that puts allies into play, but that is a beta card, a community card, so we haven't seen its final version yet. I wonder whether it will turn up in this box, but I don't know for certain.
So my view on this card is it's very situational, and even in the situation, what it does isn't especially impressive. That's where I come down on it. And it's expensive, and yeah.
I think so. I think that seems to be where other people have landed with it as well. Do you know the investigator on the card?
No, tell me.
This is Trish Scarborough. Americans take note, not Scarborough, who is a spy. Sorry, that was a really dickhead thing to say, wasn't
it? I mean, how could they not know? It's not like we say.
She has now. What's her ability do? This synergizes really well with her ability, which is when you discover a clue at a location with an enemy, you can either discover an additional clue. So it's a triggered ability. You can either discover an additional clue or you can evade the enemy. So with this, you can get 2 clues if everything's lined up and you're doing it with an enemy where you are. It doesn't cost you an attack of opportunity, or you can get 1 clue and evade the enemy for a single action. With that, it starts to seem decent. I'm not sure that I would try it with anyone else. Maybe it would be great in Alessandra.
I agree. Once this turns into 2 clues, the maths on it completely changes and it becomes viable. Also, like, we'll do spoilers first. I want to have a little conversation about min-maxing in this game, and whether I think it's like the right thing to do with the game anyway.
Yeah.
Like, or whether you should be playing interesting cards.
I think that let's definitely have that conversation. The other thing I want to say about it is I do really love this as a ludo narrative bit of design. Like I just find it really funny, this idea that you're like punting around the place and like all these gugs and ghouls are like, are you a human? No, definitely not. Like, here's my ghoul card here. But like the more you do it, the more blacking you do, the more they're just like, you don't smell of rotting flesh, mate. You don't belong here. Come on, let's have it.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun.
I floated the idea of a McLovin challenge to see who can build up the most suspicion on this without getting busted. Which I love that much more than I think that it's a strong card. Let's move on.
I would be way more excited about this card if it said something like, when you have 7 suspicion on this, discard it and get 10 resources or something wild.
That would be really cool. Yeah, that would be nice. Purified. You're up.
Sure. Purified is a skill. It's innate. It's bless, and there is a maximum of 1 you can commit per skill test. You may commit Purified to any type of test. If this test is successful for each point you succeeded by, to a maximum of 5, add 1 bless token or remove 1 curse token from the chaos bag. Sick. Yeah, that seems like a really nice value card.
For actionless as well. I mean, I don't, again, disclaimer that I don't have my head fully around the bless and curse archetypes, but I think this is, as it's actionless, you just need to pick the right skill test. One of the better ways for getting blesses into the bag. I don't think there are many ways of just straight up removing this many curses, other than pulling them, which I don't recommend if you want to pass tests.
So presumably you can commit it to someone else's amazing skill test that they're about to do as well. So I think that increases the utility of this card quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can commit it if they're at your location or some other rules are in play that allow you to do that.
Fantastic. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. The Key of Solomon. Oh my goodness, this is a doozy. Like when you see those icons and that that many that level and the unique asterisk, you know that some weird shit's about to go down, right? And it's a bloody tome, of course. So 2 costs mystic asset, the Key of Solomon, item tome blessed and cursed traded, and it's got 2 free triggered abilities. The first one reads, if there are more blessed than cursed tokens in the curse bag, remove 1 blessed token from the curse bag and exhaust the Key of Solomon. Heal up to 2 damage and or horror from an investigator or ally asset at your location. And the second one reads, if there are more cursed than blessed tokens in the curse bag, remove 1 cursed token from the curse bag and exhaust the Key of Solomon, gain 2 resources. Takes up a hand slot. Your reaction to this one, Jessica?
This seems OP, if anything. Like, that's an incredible amount of damage / horror healing to be able to do as a fast action once per turn. Not quite once per turn, but maybe once every other turn, if that's your build.
Yep.
To any investigator. It's only...
Or ally assets.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's don't sleep on that. You've played agency backup, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is a little bit taboo me, please. Like, this looks really, really powerful.
I could see this ending up on the taboo list. Like, I haven't played with it. I don't know the archetypes well enough to properly evaluate it, but it seems very strong, and it seems like the kind of whack ability that could end up on the taboo list.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it's properly balanced and we get to play with it forever.
Of course. But if it does turn out to be unbalanced, I hope that they do something about that, because it's nice to know that you can just go as hard as you want and not break the game.
Yeah.
As we'll discuss in a minute.
My initial reaction to this was that he just blew Koaku right open. The Japanese folklorist.
This is absolutely a Koaku card. He's got so many ways of making sure this procs over and over again.
Yeah, someone pointed out to me that he does have his own reason, own way of wanting to take tokens out of the bag. So he's got the second ability on his investigator card that gets you extra actions. But I think even with that in mind, sometimes you might want these abilities more than the actions, a free action.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and he wants to have a balance, so sometimes you will still be drawing tokens out of the bag. Sometimes you'll have loads more blesses or curses than the other side. He needs to take an equal amount of both out. I think it's 2 or 3 of each, I think he needs to take out. So any imbalance, you can just, as soon as that occurs, you can use this on your turn to get like a sick amount of value out of it. There's also a card called, for the top one, there's also a card called Soul Sanctification that allows you to turn additional healing into +2s on tests. So if you heal the last damage or horror, if you heal above the last damage and horror on an investigator, you can use soul amplification to add charges. I forget what the uses are, but like basically extra healing does not necessarily need to go to waste. Yeah, I can totally see that being a very, very powerful build.
Yeah.
Let's move on. He's well dressed. Do you want to do the reading?
Sure. So well dressed is another skill. It comes in with just one question mark, Pip, but don't worry, because while well dressed is committed to a skill test during a parley action, it gains. Now, does this mean it gains 3 and then it has 3? Does this mean it gains an additional 3?
An additional 3, so it has 4
Okay,
now.
so that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
If you've got a parley build where you're confident that you will be parleying fairly often, I would say this is an automatic include.
Yeah, I absolutely. Alessandra, obviously, it's a massive shoe-in. It's really, really strong in her because you'll be doing lots of those. I think if you're playing Power Word, which has been tabooed to require a parlay test every turn, again, really good. I probably can't see it getting much use outside those two. Maybe with the upgraded Fine Clothes, where you have another native parlay ability that you were likely to be using a lot, then yeah, I could see it. But yeah, I think in its niche, it's very strong.
Yeah,
but I don't have loads more to say about it than that.
No, it's just a good value card.
Yeah. Transmogrify. Oh, I love this.
This is
really love this card.
So cool.
1 cost secret event, willpower and intellect pips, gambit and science traded. Evade, you may use intellect instead of agility for this evasion attempt. If you succeed and the enemy is not elite, attach transmogrify to it. Attached enemy gains massive, cannot move. Reaction ability, after you evade this enemy, discover 1 clue at its location, limit once per round. So you use weird science to make an enemy so big they're trapped inside a room like Alice in Wonderland with like a leg sticking out of a window or whatever, and like you can get clues from them if you're good at evading.
Yeah, I love that piece of Leo narrative, whatever it is, of like people going to the room. Whoa, oh, I'm learning more about this creature as I dodge around.
Yeah. Now it's 10 times the size. It's really easy to study.
That limit once per round, is that a group limit or an investigator limit?
Investigator limit. So it would say group limit if it was a group limit.
Cool. Great. This is really good.
I think it's
a
fun
lot
design.
of fun.
Yeah.
It's such a fun idea. I'm not sure how powerful it is. I don't care. Like it's
100%,
sometimes you see something
100%.
that's just so fun. Can I read the flavor text?
Please, yeah.
I said blow it up, not blow it up.
So good. So good. I'm sorry that we neither of us did a Michael Caine impression for that.
I will not be doing one. I'm afraid.
Okay. Yeah, I also don't know how strong it is, but I love it. I think, like we've discussed relatively recently, the what's it called? The riddle. It's not esoteric riddle. The one where you you ask an enemy whether it actually exists, and it's so confused if it gets to attack you and it gets aloof. Existential riddle. Existential riddle.
Existential riddle. It's great.
So for me, Seeker is possibly the least interesting faction in the game. I think a lot of their cards are just very good, and they've got a bit of a set archetype where it's like good books do good book things, investigation, efficiency to the max, and there's not a lot else going on in the faction. And this release and the last release, they seem to have been trying to move away from that slight rut in design, I feel, that exists around the faction. So yeah, even if this isn't the most powerful card, I like really appreciate the craft in making fun, wacky shit like this instead of like your more standard Seeker stuff.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Hey, and now we get Kate Winthrop, who we saw most of Kate's in the original article announcement about Hemlock Vale, but we have got from playing board games. I think who actually did the last couple as well. We've got the deck building for her. Would you like to read Kate out for us?
Sure. So Kate is a Miskatonic scholar. She has 2 willpower for law. That's what that is, right? Law.
Intellect. I think law
Intellect.
might have been what that icon meant in some of the other Arkham Horror games or Arkham Files games.
In our games, we always call it book clan anyway. So like, I never remember what it's meant to be called. 2 fight and 4 agility. You begin the game with Flux Stabilizer inactive, side face up. As a fast action, you may move 1 clue from Kate Winthrop to a science or tool asset you control with no clues on it. Forced. When an asset you control with a clue on it leaves play, place its clue on your location. And it's what is that thing
Elder
called?
Sign effect.
Elder Sign effect is +0. You may move 1 clue from an asset you control back to Kate Winthrop. It means nothing, I think, until you look at the.
You have to look at the whole suite together. This is a really tricky one. I don't have my head around her at all. Do you want to alternate reading?
Sure, you go for this one.
So this is the deck size of 30, Seeker cards 0 to 5, Science cards 0 to 4, Insight cards, which are mostly, like a good slice of the Seeker events, 0 to 1, and actually hardly any non-Seeker Insight cards at the moment, and neutral 0 to 5. Then additional cards, you've got Flux Stabilizer, Failed Experiment, and 1 random basic weakness. So let's have a look at some of those, which hopefully will help to untangle this riddle.
So Flux Stabilizer inactive is it's a permanent, so it's a no-cost asset. Kate Winthrop deck only. It's an item. It's tool. It's science. Forced. After a clue is placed on Flux Stabilizer, search your bonded cards or discard pile for 1 copy of Aetheric Current and shuffle it into your deck. Flip Flux Stabilizer, keeping all tokens and attachments. I like the idea of creating a kind of like infinite chain of cards to just reference the next one as you go along, and you never work out what they're meant to do.
So this is the other side of Flux Stabilizer,
the
active side, and that has a reaction ability when you place a clue on an asset you control. Get +2 skill value for your next skill test this phase. So I think we're at the stage where we're starting to get answers for why you might do any of this stuff, which is once this has, you put a clue on this to flip it, and then when you put more clues on assets, including this one, I think. Yeah, you can still put more clues on this as far as I understand it. You get +2 skill value for your next test. And there's also the Aetheric Current, which there are 2 flavors of Aetheric Current.
I will read this one. It is Yuggoth flavor, cool Yuggoth original. Bonded with Flux Stabilizer. Play only if Flux Stabilizer is on its active side. Fight. Move all clues on assets you control to Kate Winthrop. For this attack, you may use Book instead of Punch. If you succeed and the attacked enemy is non-elite, you may exhaust it and move it to any location. Draw 1 card, flip Flux Stabilizer.
And we've got also Yoth, which is basically the same, isn't it? Move all clues. So all the clues come back, but it's an evade action instead. Again, using intellect instead of agility this time. If you succeed and the target of the evasion is non-elite, shuffle it into the encounter deck, draw 1 card, and then you flip it. So you're putting clues on Flux Stabilizer to flip it to get these cute little fight or evade abilities, and they move all the clues back to Kate once you use them, and you flip it back again. So you're putting stuff out
Yeah.
for bonuses, then you're playing these for really cool rewards, and then everything comes back and you start again.
Yeah.
The
So
big question that might be in your mind now that was answered when they put out the announcement article was, can you still spend the clues that are on your assets
I
in the
know that
normal
you
way?
can.
You know that you
You
can?
can.
Hey, well done. You've been paying attention, Jessica.
I have been paying attention in Arkham class. I'm going to get a good mark at Arkham, something
Mm.
that is normal to and impossible to achieve. So my reading of how this engine works is you will only have one of these two cards. No, that's not true. I was going to say you'd only have one in your hand at a time, but that's not true because you could just save them up. And no, you would only have one in your hand because you get one, you play it, that flips flux capacitor, flux stabilizer, sorry, back onto its other side, and that's how you get another one, right? But it's also you are searching for a specific one.
Yeah.
Oh, shuffle it into your deck. I thought you put it in your hand.
Yeah, I missed that as well. So it goes into your deck, and then you're putting clues out, and then when it comes up, all the clues come back home. And you use them.
Yeah, and you will only, but in that case, you will only have one of these in your deck at a time.
Correct.
Because
Yeah, because you have to play it. Playing it's the only way to flip it back. Flipping it is the only way to get these.
With the small edge case that you might end up with both of them in your deck if you did some weird thing where you had run through your entire deck and one of them was in a discard pile and stuff. But that's such an edge case, and it's not something I think you particularly care about trying to make happen. But technically, you could have both in your deck. I think I can see the mechanics in my head if you'd like me to describe them.
And I'm just trying to. There's so many things to read. I'm just trying to get my head around it to see if there's any. No, I think you're right. I think you play it and it goes into your discard pile.
Yeah.
So, yeah, gotcha. And when you flip it, you can pull them out of the discard pile into your deck. But they could just cycle. They could just cycle, couldn't they?
Yeah. I think normally you'll probably have a preference for one of these over the other, depending on what your deck's like. But it could be that you want each of them for different situations, and you do end up with both of them in your deck. I think that is a possibility.
Yeah.
And
actually, when they're in your deck, you can't get them. You can still flip Flux Stabilizer, but you can't get them because they're no longer either in your bonded cards or your discard pile.
that's true. And you could create a situation where they're both in your deck.
Yes.
But again, it's unlikely it's an edge case thing to happen. I don't think it's what the things being balanced around.
No.
Because most of the time you don't cycle your deck. In fact, the game penalizes you for cycling your deck. You get trauma for it.
You get horror. You don't get trauma. Cycling your deck is a relatively normal thing to happen.
Okay.
You just need to, if you're running a deck that is going to be doing it, you need to be ready to accept the horror. But generally, the types of decks that do it are ready for that for whatever reason. We've got one more thing to look at from Kate, and then that's the end of the spoiler. So let's talk about her when we've seen the failed experiment. I can't even remember whose turn it is to read this. Is it yours?
I'll read it.
Do it.
It's a treachery. It's a weakness. Revelation. Test 3 willpower. This test gets +1 difficulty for each asset you control with a clue on it. For each point you fail by, you must either take a 1 horror or place one of your clues on your location. So quite a nasty little one.
Yeah. Immediately, it's the sort of classic weakness design that it wants to stop you doing the thing that you want to do too many times.
Yeah. And obviously part of part of smart Kate play would be to scatter your clues over as many different things as possible, because if any one of them gets taken out of play by some other weakness or whatever, you're not losing too many clues. Whereas this is saying, if you do that, if you don't keep all your eggs in one basket, there is something nasty coming later.
Yeah, absolutely. And the extent to which that you're likely to have assets sniped does vary quite a lot, both between scenarios and actually between campaigns. So there are some campaigns where you're not likely to have too many assets getting knocked out by the encounter deck, and there are some where it's going to happen quite a lot, like the Scarlet Keys, for example. This would be a lot grimmer than some other campaigns.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you feel about Kate now that we've looked at all of her bits and pieces?
So her big thing seems to be she can get bonuses to skill tests for putting clues on her assets, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think she's a more she's not just a value seeker. She's a little bit more interesting than that. She doesn't. Again, if one were min-maxing, and we'll talk about this in a minute, I think you would not go for this seeker. But like, I don't. Spoiler warning for the conversation we're about to have. I don't think you should be min-maxing all the time in this game. I think you won't have the most fun that way. I think you'll have the most fun trying to have fun.
Yeah. I'm not sure I know how strong she is. I like the Yoggoth and Yoth. What was their proper title? I like the sort of the two haymakery enemy the etheric current, the enemy handling events. I think they look pretty decent, and you'll be really glad to chuck them in. And it's quite. I like having a seeker that's got a little bit of built-in enemy handling, but it's 2 or 3 times the scenario, and not particularly more than that. Is my sense, and I think that's a good amount.
I've just realised these will both be in your deck far more often than we were saying, because you can spend clues off of your assets, and so flip them over that way.
You can spend clues off of your.
So anytime you've got to spend clues, you could just spend the clues that are on the Flux stabilizer, right? And wouldn't that flip it back?
After you get clues, that you can flip it back.
So when it's on its flipped side, if all the clues go off it, right? I mean, we've been assuming it flips back, right? When you spend all the clues, we've been assuming it flips back if it's got no clues on it.
When you play Etheric Current,
yes,
you have to flip it. So it becomes inactive after you've played Etheric Current.
Okay.
And then you need to get more clues to flip it back again.
Cool. So it won't flip just from having no clues on it. Okie-dokie.
Yeah. So to flip it, to change it from active to inactive, you need to have got one of your Etheric Currents out of your deck and played it. So them being in your deck is the kind of the friction on being able to flip it multiple times.
Sure.
Yeah. I think there's a fun little mini game there. She feels like quite a busy work investigator. The last one I played of that sort was Daryl Simmons, the kind of more seekery than Survivor, but technically a Survivor from Scarlet Keys. I found that a bit of hard work, but maybe that's just that I was doing too many other things at the same time. But I look forward to playing with her. I think she's good, and my previous comments about Seekers being more interesting all apply. So you've teased a conversation you want to have about min-maxing, so I think we should have it before we do our definitely not very min-maxed play to the Forbidden Beasts.
So I played with my friends Lou and Reese again at the weekend, and both of their decks are very min-maxed. And they are both extremely good players of these kinds of games. And we absolutely demolished two more scenarios, as in like both of them were finished with like a bunch of agendas left.
What were the scenarios out of interest? This is your playthrough of Carcosa?
This is our playthrough of Dunwich Legacy.
Oh, Dunwich Legacy. Okay, yeah.
So great design, especially on the first of the two that I'm going to talk about. The first one we did was on a train.
Yeah, Essex County Express. I think when we last spoke, that was upcoming, and I said, "Oh, you'll have fun with that," because that's for a lot of people who playing Dunwich as their first campaign. That was the one where they're like, "Oh, wow, this is like, I've seen a new way that they can just set up this game, and it's really exciting."
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a twist in it which I won't spoil for the audience. Where it's like, oh yeah, that's really, really cool design. I love that they've done that. However, we were so good at it that at the end we hung around in the engine carriage, cycling through my deck to find a Drawn to the Flame to get an extra XP. And we did that for several turns, and that didn't, to be honest, that didn't give me the feeling that I want from Arkham. I want to like screech across the finish line with 100 enemies chasing me when I finish an Arkham campaign. And indeed, I said, okay, can we up the difficulty for the next one? And we did agree to some difficulty changes. And the next one we got extremely lucky. It was the kind of scenario where you are looking for like a door and a key.
This is Blood on the Altar, I believe.
Yes, it is, yeah. Which I suspect had better design than I got to see because we finished it really fast. The first place we uncovered had the door, and the second place we uncovered had the key, and they were right next to each other. And it was just
that can happen. That immature design, as I've said, that's like just the kind of wrinkle that you tend to see less often in the later campaigns.
Yeah. I mean, we worked out it was a 1 in 10 chance of that exact thing happening. But still, it is what happened, and it felt extremely easy.
Yeah.
I think there's every chance we get our asses kicked by the next scenario where we've all had an extra weakness added to our decks, and we are going to be using a tougher Chaos token bag. But I think that there are a few problems. We're not using any taboo lists, and I'm on 2 Cyclopean hammers in my deck.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Who are you playing?
I'm playing Agnes. Yeah. So I'm hitting everything.
Yeah.
I pulled a Chaos token out of the bag at one point when I was at I can't remember whether it was a 12 or a plus 12, but I wouldn't even be surprised if it was a plus 12 that I was at. Like, it was just wild because we all did a silly test at the end where we all committed stuff to it, and it just like the numbers went a bit wacky. So like it's a mixture of we're not using a taboo list until like Stella's got drawing it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And Cyclopean Hammer, I would add that to the list of reasons that you are decking this campaign.
Yeah. And Norman Withers has his wonderful combo, which admittedly it's like a 3 or 4 card combo.
It's the Astronomical Atlas, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Where he's just getting 2 clues after 2 clues after 2 clues. And in any scenario that has been set up around the idea that you will not be picking up clues at that sort of speed reliably, it just trivializes it really fast. So I feel strongly that we need to do some adjustments to difficulty. Next campaign, obviously we can't do it during this campaign. I will say, please, can you use taboo list? This is a little bit silly. But I've enjoyed, like, I love playing with that Cyclopean Hammer. It's broken, but it's really, really funny.
Yeah. I haven't played with it, partly because it was like it was the boat of its release, if you will. Obviously, it's slightly different in that it's the encounter deck who's playing against it. The encounter deck doesn't have a negative play experience, which is good for all concerned when you've got cards like Cyclopean Hammer doing the rounds. But yeah,
We had a
that did go very quickly. That went straight on the next taboo, and rightly so. But yeah, it does look loads of fun. Like knocking enemies into other locations. Like
I mean,
I could
we
happily do that for a long time.
we didn't even get to use that feature because it was just smashing everything into a fine mist at the moment.
Yeah.
There was a very funny turn where Lou, who was playing Norman, described this very complicated and excellent plan he had for taking out a monster, and I was like, or I could just do this.
Nice, nice.
And one of the cards he was going to play was "I've got a plan." It's like, yeah, my plan's better.
Yeah, you've got a plan. I've got a big hammer.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm sorry that you didn't get the full blood on the altar experience. For my money, that's one of the stronger campaigns in the one stronger scenarios in the campaign in terms of its vibe and general feel.
Yeah.
And there's a really cool little mechanic that I won't go any further into because it doesn't sound like you explored it. That
I could see what they were going to do, and it looked really cool.
yes,
But we didn't actually get far enough along the line for that thing to happen. We had already completed it.
Yeah.
Oh, another small frustration, and I can't talk about this without some minor spoilers for Dulwich Legacy. So, like, mute us or jump ahead a
I
couple
think
minutes if that's something that bothers you.
we're largely a gameplay stream, so like I would
this is
expect
true.
people to have played that scenario if they're watching this, but not necessarily. So like,
That's true.
Plug your ears if you haven't.
So we got the Necronomicon in a previous in one of the previous scenarios. We all looked at the Necronomicon and basically decided this is a bad card. It's fundamentally a very bad card. Like it would have been almost the worst card in my deck, except that my signature is also an extremely bad card. I was like, I don't think I would play this if it was in my opening hand, which means I would never ever play it. But it might have some gameplay function. It might have some narrative function. So we should give it to whoever can draw this most easily. And so we gave it to Stella because Stella can draw it easily. Stella doesn't it's not a draw cost as much for Stella as it is for other players. And also Stella tends to get lots of resources. So it's not a resource cost to play it and then never use it. It did have a narrative function. However, it only had a narrative function if you had already put it out in front of you when the thing happened. It didn't say if this card is in someone's deck or whatever. And it just felt a little bit frustrating to have, as I saw it, played the game properly. And indeed, try to be like, yeah, we want to have this for when we need it. And to have no warning until we hit the resolution and it said, if you've got this is what happens.
Yeah.
Not... Yeah, it could have said when we went into the room where it mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that just felt frustrating because it felt like, what can you do apart from play either metagame or play deeply suboptimally? There's nothing you can do to play around that.
Yeah. I would categorize that as one of the things about Dunwich that's just a little bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if it was
I've forgotten what it's the thing that it does is, to be honest with you. Partly because I think I've internalized that taking it isn't the greatest. So I've probably,
if I remember correctly, it's click for 2 resources, which seems pretty good, but it costs a click to install. And I think might cost as many as 3 resources to install as well.
Right.
So unless you use it 5 or 6 times, you have not made a profit.
Yeah.
And obviously, you've used those 5 or 6 clicks on things that weren't playing the game, things that were just gathering resources.
Yeah. I want to say that it's literally printed as a weakness, but maybe I'm misremembering that. It isn't a great card. I think it's supposed to be in terms of narrative, it's supposed to be a slightly cursed book and a bad thing to have. and a mistake to take it, which is why I don't remember it very well, because I think, and again, I don't think this is a great piece of design. I've kind of internalized that taking it is the wrong choice. We shouldn't be, and in later campaigns isn't the way that campaigns are designed. You know, they tend to be designed that there's choice A and choice B, and different things happen if you do them, but there's not one that's strictly better or strictly worse.
So if we had it out in front of us, a good thing would have happened.
Yeah.
A good and cool thing would have happened. And it was a shame that we didn't get to have that good and cool thing happen. Just trying to find. There are versions of it that I think there are cool versions of the Necronomicon. This isn't one of them.
Yeah, so I mean, in the mythos, the Necronomicon is a book that Lovecraft invented, and in the game there are several different versions of it that are different translations. Canonically in Lovecraft, there's some racist nonsense about the guy who wrote it that I won't bother to repeat, but like, it's not English, isn't it? It's original language of composition. So that in the and obviously the game has no truck with that nonsense and doesn't bother with it, but there are several different translations which are different versions. There's a John Dee translation that's a very broken Seeker card, and then there's Daisy's Weakness, which is another translation, and there's this one.
Yeah, it's you get an extra intellect pip, but that wasn't useful for any of us. So it's click to gain 2 resources. It costs 2.
Yeah.
So it's just very, very slow to get a payoff from this, and it takes up a hand slot.
Yeah. An unlimited click for 2 is occasionally something you want in a few deck archetypes, but generally it's not that great. It's still pretty slow as far as economy goes, and when you factor in putting the damn thing into play and the extra and the action of putting it into play.
Yeah, the third time you click it, you've broken even.
Yeah. If you mean the third action?
The third time you use it, you break even.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Because we're going to ignore that you had to draw it, and you might have spent an action drawing it, but we're going to ignore that for now. You installed it, and you were down 2.
Yeah.
You're at -2. You used it, but you could have used that action. Every one of these actions is worth a resource, right? Because you could have
now we're getting into the muddy weeds. I don't really subscribe to this strict. I'm very much a floating exchange rates Arkham player. You're a gold standard Arkham player, so there's a bit of a neoliberal ideological difference between us here.
All right, so I am looking at the opportunity cost of these things, and the opportunity cost of any action in Arkham is always at least 1 resource. Arguably, it is more than 1 resource because there are cards you could have played with that action that would have gained you more than 1 resource, or would have gained you value that was greater than a resource in some other way. But because you can always use an action to gain a resource, the floor is 1 resource. In the same way that the floor is 1 credit or 1 card.
That is true. That is true. Nonetheless, I don't like it. But please make your point instead of ceding anyone.
I mean, this fundamentally is my point. That like, if you install it and then click it, you've actually not broken even, because you could have spent those 2 actions clicking for resources and have 2 more resources than if you'd installed it and used it once. Like, and so the second time you use it, you are still down a resource. It is the third time you use it that you have broken even. Admittedly, after that, it's all pure profit, but like, that's an entire turn that you spent doing nothing.
Your point is noted.
Sure.
It's a bad card anyway. We agree on that for sure.
Yeah, I started this with let's not min-max stuff. You should do the things that are fun, and then I've like deeply min-maxed this like cool book. cool thematic books. It's not. I do feel that it's ludonarrative dissonance to give you this cool book that should be like very tempting to use, and actually in practice it's like it ends up feeling like thematically like I got it and just went, it's kind of boring, this book, I don't really want to read it, which doesn't feel great in terms of like Arkham lore.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's play Arkham.
I know. I think we would talk about Min-Max a bit more.
Yeah, do you want to? Have you got points you want to make?
I think. I mean, I think we agree on the basic point that you wanted to make, which is that this isn't a game for min-maxers because you are competing against a deck.
Yeah.
You know, the deck doesn't have feelings. The deck doesn't anticipate what you're doing. The deck puts blocks in your way at random, and it's a puzzle to work around them, and it's a puzzle to work out what the scenario is trying to do above and beyond the deck, and to try and beat it. And that puzzle's fun and that puzzle's interesting, but also if you just narrow your options for the deck building to the most powerful cards and the most powerful deck, you're actually experiencing quite a narrow slice of what the game has to offer, and that is a shame in my view.
Yeah.
And the nature of the game, in that it's designed as a co-op and it's not as finely balanced as a player versus player game needs to be, because it allows you to do obscene like on the edge of being broken combinations that would be a negative experience for an opponent if there was an opponent. You're missing out on quite a lot of fun and wildness if you just min-max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My ideal Arkham experience is to win on the last pull from the bag, and that pull to have been about 50-50. That's what I want to happen. What I don't want to happen is dawdling about in a train carriage for like literal acts worth of time because we could get one more XP if we screw around. Like, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah. There aren't very many of those experiences in the game, but if you go into Dunwich with a very, very well-tuned set of decks and some pretty broken cards and no taboo list, that can happen. And it's partly a slightly immature design in that, also just the luck of the draw in terms of what can happen to you. Like Essex County Express is famous for, if you are unlucky with your encounter cards, you can lose on the first agenda with very little agency to stop yourself doing it. I don't know the scenario well enough to know the exact combination of things, but there are some encounter cards, maybe particularly if you're playing solo, but maybe not if you're playing solo. Maybe it's actually if you're playing 4-player, you can just get doomed out very quickly, or there's like unwinnable game state appears.
I'm fully aware that like I am the problem here. Like, I have been min-maxing, and now I feel like, and we've broken the difficulty curve, and the job now is to like fix that difficulty curve so we can like find. To be fair, I think my teammates are having quite a lot of fun, but they're a little bit newer to Arkham than I am, and I'm like, no, this is not how it should be. We should be on the edge of disaster constantly.
Yeah. Fortunately, that the underlying philosophy of the game design is on your side, and the majority of the experiences you'll have with it, so long as you are properly calibrating your difficulty level and use the to-do list to your card pool and your abilities, then the majority of the experiences will be much more along the lines of what you're after.
Yeah, I think so.
Talking of which, shall we now play some Arkham?
I would like that. I'd like that very much.
Me too. So we are going to play To the Forbidden Peaks. If I can get our faces back.
Can you invite me to the game, Dave?
Yes, of course. Sorry that I hadn't already. Let's do that. So we spent some time in a hallucinatory mist in the
We
last
did.
scenario. And what was that? It was Fatal Mirage, wasn't it? That was the first time we played it. And we discovered some memories from, if I remember rightly, was it Marla Singer and the Dogman? I can remember, is a dog called Eru or Aru or something like that. He's called
Haru
Elijah.
would be a great name for a dog.
I think
I
it's called
don't know if that.
Elijah.
I will be calling him Aru from now on.
And you. There we go.
Yeah, I think that is who we got. We were looking for whoever our friend is who gets rid of frost tokens, but we didn't find him. We found someone else.
Yeah, we wanted Avery Claypool, didn't we? But
Yeah.
we didn't find him. But we can go back.
We can.
Yes, yeah. In the scenario setup, I said if this is your first time playing this scenario, do X. So the clear inference is there can also be a second time.
Yeah. Oh dear, Dave. We need to add 2 XP's worth of cards to this deck.
We do. Okay, let's hop back to Firefox and we'll do that quickly.
I would also be okay with saving 2 XP to just get on with the game because it is now 10 o'clock.
It's entirely up to you. I have my upgrades ready. Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you. I think if you wanted to do very quickly do an upgrade on this deck, I would suggest bumping one of your scavengings up to level 2. With the view
Okay,
to
that
do
sounds
the
very. That sounds very quickly. That sounds very quick.
Yeah.
What does scavenging even do? What? Mm-hmm. What does? Do you know? I'm just going to trust you. Give me a level 2 scavenging, Dave.
Cool. Scavenging is your recursion item recursion card, the item recursion assets, and level 1 allows you to take cards back into your hand. Level 2 allows you to put them directly into play. So your recursion saved an action, basically.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Let's do that. I'm gonna grab a drink very quickly.
Yeah, no worries. I will. I'll pop us back into TTS and I'll get your card out.
Sick.
Yeah. So I said I had done my upgrades already. So I've got 2 adaptable from last time, which means that I can for free swap a couple of level 0 cards into my deck at no cost. So I have put 2 lone wolves in there, which to get a little bit more economy in the deck. If I am by myself, I need to check what I got rid of for that. So I swapped 1 Scout Ahead and 1 Blood Pact for that. I got an upgraded copy of Clairvoyance up to level 3. I've got 2 Arcane Research, so that just cost me 1. And I put a mark on the Summon Servitor. I got the Wings of Night ability, which means that it can carry me between locations.
Fantastic.
If we're going the same way. So I'll just get out cards that I'm getting rid of.
Shall I start doing reading that we might need to do?
Yeah, why not? That's a good idea. I'll only be a minute, but yeah, do start, because there might be some. Well, there'll definitely be some. There might be a lot.
So, do we know which intro we're meant to read?
What are the options?
Intro 1 and intro 2, but it doesn't say which to read in what situation.
Oh, really?
I mean, presumably did before.
Are you looking at the right page?
I was. So this is scenario 2 to the Forbidden Peaks. We have intro 1 and intro 2.
Oh, so you just read them in order.
I read them in order. That would make sense. I'm already tired and we've not started.
I think we're going to get maybe we'll get an agenda into this scenario tonight. Let's see.
The wind howls as your party prepares for the long journey ahead. There is very little conversation. Even if you could hear each other's muffled voices through your earmuffs and scarves, what would you say? The silence of your shared terror is loud enough. Your destination is many miles ahead of you. The jagged peaks loom far on the horizon, taunting you. You run a mental checklist of your situation. Check your campaign log and read each passage below that corresponds to your situation, then proceed to intro 2. If Elia Ashavek is alive and wooden sledge is listed under supplies recovered, I think we've done a bad job of recovering supplies.
I think we've done a really bad job of it. I think we've done almost none. Yeah, we've got a bit of an issue with the Arkham Cards app. It's the only time it's ever failed me, but we've slightly gone awry with that. But I believe we've only collected one supply.
Was it dynamite that we connected?
I think it was, yeah. I remember saying that's the kind of thing that we would want at this time like this. Is it in your deck?
I remember us. What a great question. No is the answer. It's not in my deck. But I don't know that it came out as a card. No, I also don't know that we actually collected it and didn't just talk about collecting it and then have to run away from something.
So our log says we've got spare parts, dynamite, and miasmic crystal. Let's see if any of if my deck's got any of those things either. No. And no. That's interesting. That is interesting.
Are you sure they're meant to be cards in our deck and not just things that we've listed as existing?
I am 70% sure that they should be. Let me see if I can find them in Ice and Death. I know that, well, in any case, the first one doesn't apply. What are the other options while I'm looking for these?
So I read an otherwise.
Yeah.
You groan as you heft an enormous, heavy backpack full of equipment onto your back. You're definitely not looking forward to trekking across the snow with an extra 50 pounds, but there's no avoiding it. You've no idea how long you're going to be where you're headed. You'll need everything in that backpack if you want to survive. Add 1 frost token to the chaos bag.
Boo. That's really rubbish.
If Avery Claypool is alive, which he is...
Hooray!
Weather might look clear right now, Claypool explains, but it could turn on a dime. We'll be on ice for most of the journey, so be on the lookout for cracks. We need ice about 60 centimeters thick in order to walk across, so stay behind me at all times, and I'll use this auger to make sure it's safe. He holds up a spiral-tapped drilling device and leads the way. The investigators suffer no ill effect. It was a very real job in Victorian investigating to have someone who was an ice expert and knew all about different kinds of ice and what they would do and how they would behave.
Oh yeah,
it was an important thing they took on polar expeditions and stuff, and I presume still is. I only know about it because I had hyperfixated on Victorian polar expeditions a few years ago.
That is interesting. I feel that there's a massive diversion we could go down now, and it's probably a bad idea at
Yes,
this time of night.
mm,
But I'm
I
I'm
agree.
interested. Do they have many polar expeditions?
The Victorians, yes,
Okay.
they were looking. I mean, one of the things they did was look for the Northwest Passage.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And one of the reasons I wanted to do this campaign is because I'm kind of fascinated by the Franklin expedition that went to look for the Northwest Passage and just disappeared off the face of the earth. And there's like a really cool horror mini series about it called The Terror. If you're ever in the mood for some striving British men dying in a winter wonderland.
That is my jam. I mean,
I found it.
I'm sort of I'm agnostic
enjoyable.
about the environmental conditions, but striving British men in the colonial
Dying.
era meeting a bad end is the kind of happy ending that we didn't get nearly enough in the Victorian era. So yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I rewatched it recently. I couldn't quite decide where it had come down on about what the politics of it were, but ultimately, it's a story of hubris. So I decided to give it a pass. Anyway, we did the diversion that we warned ourselves about. Let's come back.
We didn't go very far.
We didn't go very far.
There are the big pile of supplies in on the table just here. Let's do the rest of the reading in case it will tell us to put these in our deck. If not, we will have to decide whose deck these go into.
Okay. So Takada, Hiroko, are they alive?
I believe so, yes.
As you set out, you hear Takada singing something under her breath, just quiet enough that you can't tell what it is. One of the others, however, seems to recognize it. That song again, they say. Heard you singing it on the Theodostria on the way over. Takada sighs. It's a song my father taught me. Helps me pass the time, she explains. You ask if she would like to teach it to you, and she gives you the first smile you've seen from her since the trek begins. Yes, I would. You spend the remainder of the journey singing and bonding together, whittling the time away. The investigators suffer no ill effect. Did we scout the mountain pass?
I don't think so. I'm also not 100% sure whether Takada's alive. This is one of the discrepancies, but I think she is. Have you paused, Jessica?
I'm waiting to hear whether she's alive or not.
Oh, right.
And whether we've scouted the mountain pass.
I don't think we've... No, I'm sure we haven't scouted the mountain pass.
Okay.
And I think... Let's see. Yeah, no, that's fine. Takada is alive. We've lost 3 people. We lost Dyer, Danforth, and Marla Singer, to my memory.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where the discrepancy is. So we're right so far.
So the frozen tundra leading up to the foothills of the jagged mountains is hard terrain to traverse. Even prepared as you are with snowshoes and warm clothes to fight the cold, it's going to be slow and rough. The wind fights you at every turn. Its gusts strong enough to knock you over. But you continue onward, undeterred. Nothing bad happens. Something good would have happened if we had scouted the mountain pass. You hike through the ice and snow for many grueling hours. Luckily, you encounter no more of the creatures from the previous 2 days, leaving you to ponder if it was all some cruel mirage. But as you draw closer to the base of the jagged snow-tipped mountains, you find another manner of creature altogether. It lies frozen and half buried in the snow, like a macabre waymarker guiding you onward. Its body is shaped like a drum, with a thick hide and a pair of torn, leathery wings. A starfish-shaped appendage sticks out of the snow from its top half, adorned with 5 dead eyes and a set of primatic cilia. 5 sets of tentacles lie frozen in the ice. The sight of the thing chills you more than the Antarctic weather possibly could. There can be no doubt, this is one of the elder things that Professor Dyer and Danforth encountered it the last time they ventured into the heart of Antarctica. But what killed it? Surely it was not just the cold. Put it to setup.
Cool. So let's see. We choose a member of the expedition team. Do you want to go and have a look for yours?
Yeah, I might take Elia. We kind of leveled up, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Yeah.
Are you alright if I take them?
Yeah, please do. Okay, that should all be done. Shuffle the 7 mountainside locations and put 5 of them into play in a diagonal line. Okay. Okay, shuffle. For a while.
Yeah, this is the Resolute version.
There isn't quite enough boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll do 2 on the same level. Oh. Well, this is slightly awkward. Let's do that there. That there. That there. And that there. This is a diagonal line, but not as we know it. Let's go.
Okay.
And you can reveal the bottom leftmost location and put us both in it. We get to add an elder thing to the chaos bag because it's apparently not horrible enough already. Those are the tokens now. Ooh, I'm just having a moment where they've changed the mod and I don't know where everything is. There used to be like a little table with spare chaos tokens in.
I think you should take spare parts.
Ah, there's the chaos token. Thanks for that. Okay.
Looking at it, partly because it's got 2 willpower pips, partly because I feel like you play a lot of assets.
Don't worry. There's it's part of the setup. These
Okay.
They're expedition story assets, right? They have expedition traits. They do. Cool. These go into play at that bottom location.
What, they're all just in play at the bottom location?
Yep. That's a little spoiler. Yep, and presumably there'll be something on the action agenda that says what happens with them. But yeah, they are here at the bottom location. So let's flip that over. That is the steep incline. 2 clues per investigator.
Yeah.
Have you seen our investigator mini cards anywhere, Jessica?
No, I haven't.
That's interesting. I wonder if I tidied them away with the detritus from the last scenario. Let's see if they're in here. Yeah, there we are. Okay. And my Beamish boy is there as well. Take that for that. Okay. The location has an ability that happily doesn't have any effect because there is no location below it. Do you want to have a look at the action agenda?
Sure. Forbidden Peaks. You arrive at the foothills of the menacing mountain. The strange caves and odd formations of the mountain's summit beg to be explored. After you move to a location, return all of your clues to the token pool. Okay. Ascend the mountain, carrying as much expedition gear as you can. You must climb the imposing mountainside to unlock the secrets that lie on the other side. We can use an action to take control of an expedition asset at your location. The objective is to get to the top of the mountain. If each investigator has resigned, advance. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance.
Okay. We set aside a horrible enemy, by the way, as part of the setup. We set aside. Oh, now where might that be? Here's the Decay cards. There are 9 of them, which is surprising. I think.
I've got half of them in my deck.
I thought there was only 10 in total, but I do remember you having a lot in your deck.
I've got absolutely loads in my deck. Just teeming with Takali cards.
Yeah. I wonder where that horrible enemy is then. Let's see if it's still in. Oh yeah. There's the set aside box. Okay, right. So we can. So put that somewhere else. That somewhere else. Yeah, Terror of the Stars. There we go. Yeah. Cool. So that will be fun to deal with. It hasn't explicitly said. I feel that part of our objective in this scenario is to lug this equipment, and I would suggest that we might not want to leave it behind.
This equipment looks real good. Like, really, really good. I think we should just grab it all on our first turn.
Okay.
Like I say, I feel like you should probably take spare parts, but apart from that, I'm fairly agnostic about who takes what. It all seems useful.
I think the dynamite and the spare parts should go together.
Okay, in that case, can I take the mineral specimen?
Yes, you can. Do you want to go first? We need to do our opening hands as well.
We do. If I draw Tequila cards in my opening hand, as seems likely, do they go back like other weaknesses?
They do, yes. Yeah. Oh, I haven't chosen my companion. Yeah, I'm going to take Ellsworth. Is that a mistake? Should I take Claypool?
Claypool's been so good to us.
He has, yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember what Ellsworth does.
Ellsworth is the discard treacheries at your location.
That is also good. I mean, they're all good.
I feel that Claypool is such a vital supporting character in our campaign, I feel it's a bit wrong to leave him behind. So we'll take him.
Yeah, especially as we are currently climbing a mountain, a time when it feels like having him is particularly important. Okay, I've got my opening hand. It's not great.
Okay.
I mean, it's full of value cards, as is my deck, but like I am not happy with my engine. Like, basically not having any of it. I've got a bunch of value cards,
Okay.
and that's fine. But I would rather have like gotten Drawing Thin and stuff. Drawing Thin and Lucky Rabbit's Foot is the engine. I have got either part of it.
Yep. Do you want to go?
Sure. When it says take control, will this go straight in front of me, or do I also need to
It
play
will
it?
go straight in front of you. Yeah. So it's in play already because it's at the location, and you're just moving it from a one in play location, one in play area to another in play area, which is cards you control. Your little board.
Cool. I'm going to start by investigating,
It's a good choice.
which I will probably fail to do, but I might as well, as it's actually that's not sensible, is it? I'm not getting anything apart from the free action, so I might not fail an action this turn. I think that's where we're at. I'm going to take this. I'll put it in front of me. Action 2, I'm going to play out Granny 1.
Mm.
Put her in the right place, yeah. And now I think I will investigate, and I'll actually be investigating at A+2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to use Mineral Specimen.
Okay.
I don't think it's worth it on this location. I think we want to save it for a harder location.
That seems reasonable.
Okay, I pull the skull.
That's a level of your location. So we are either level 0 or 1. Let's just double check that. We're level 0.
Great. So I get a clue.
Right.
I tried to get a clue, but my mouse is being weird. There we go. Yay! That was my turn.
Okay, cool. I am going to take spare parts. I'm going to take some dynamite. And I am going to put the lucky cigarette case into play.
Great. Cool. The enemy phase happens. There are no enemies.
Yeah.
The upkeep phase happens. I have drawn a Tequila Lee card.
I'm sorry.
Shit.
Is it a discard an asset one?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I have literally one asset.
Oh. I know you've got 2.
What's my other asset?
Mineral Specimen and Granny Orn.
Is Granny on? Yeah, she is an asset.
She is an asset.
Well, it's not a peril. What do you think I should do?
Oh, that is a tough one. So Granny Orn is a effective +2 to your investigations, right? She gives you a +1.
And a +1 to your investigations, and we're mostly going to be the same to a lot of your investigations and other things, and we're mostly going to be in the same place.
Yeah, that's really rough. I think she's slightly better than Mineral Specimen, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I mean, was whinging about the game being too easy earlier. There we go.
You've thrown it into the bin, whereas it should go in your discard pile.
Oh, okay, that's better.
There we go. Where's that? There we go.
Which is a very... Oh, there are, in fact, ways I can get that back.
Yes.
In this deck.
Have I taken that out?
What do you mean?
So I thought that I did take it out. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I took it out right
Ah,
at the
right.
beginning.
Okay. That's why it suddenly disappeared from my view. Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay. I need to do an upkeep as well. It's the
Well.
boo. At least I got this early on. It's the card we
Yeah,
can't
because
discuss.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's have a Mythos phase. 1 doom of 6.
Oh, let me get rid of this
shuffle
Tequila
these.
card. It does say go at the bottom of the deck.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. This is the Tequila deck.
It is.
There we go.
So you draw an encounter card.
Yes, I do. Constricting Elder Thing is a hunter. X is the location, level of your location, to a minimum of 1. While constricting Elder Thing is engaged with you, you cannot move to locations above your location. This is a bit of a bummer for me because I'm kind of shit at fighting stuff at the start of my turn. But I could just spend the entire turn fighting.
Yeah. Don't you worry. I've got something to do for that. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Through the Ice, which is really shitty and annoying. Additional cost, test 2 agility. If you fail, cancel the effects of the move, take 1 damage on horror, and discard Through the Ice. So that's a bit rubbish. There we go. So I have ways of dealing with the likes of a constricting elder thing.
Why didn't you go first then?
Yeah, I think I shall. So I'm going to play Azure Flame. For my first action, that cost me 3. I am going to burn it with a cleansing fire. So spend a token. It uses willpower. I've got 5. It is a 3 fight. I will commit guts to the test. So it's 7 versus 3. There we go. That's a 0. So that is a success, which kills it. And I draw a card from guts. And I exhaust the lucky cigarette case because I succeeded by 2 or more. And I draw another card. I put 1 more.
I think you've got 1 more. You installed, you fought,
Yeah.
and then there's another action.
Would you like some money? Some resources?
Sure, you've got slightly less money than I do.
Yes.
But I can always use money.
I can't do... At the moment, I can't do much in the way of investigating, so getting some resources seems like a good deal. With absolutely no downside whatsoever. You heard it here first. How many resources up to 5 would you like to have?
Could I have 3?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just check that there weren't already chaos tokens. No, there were not. Chaos tokens in the bag.
Actually, I'll take 2, you take 3.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to, right now, I've got nothing that expensive to play in my hand.
Cool.
And once I get my engine set up, I do tend to be quite rich, so...
Yeah. Okay, that's my turn. You're up.
Sick. Right, what are the bad effects from failing tests?
The cultist is really bad. The tablet is pretty bad.
I mean, currently the cultist isn't bad because there is no location
That's
below
true.
us.
That's true.
And I have no expedition asset to lose. So right now, there is no real penalty for failure in this bag.
And I've just fried the nearest elder thing enemy, so yeah, that works out
Yeah.
quite well. Now is a good time to fail. As your attorney, I suggest that you fail this test.
Okay, I will. I think I can technically pass this test, right? There's a +1 in the bag.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
All right,
You're
I'll take my.
at evens, and then quick learner makes you -1. Yeah.
I'll take my free. Oh, I mean, I've also
You're
the
high.
zeros win it for me.
You're high. You're high. Actually, you're higher. You're even with the quick learner. You are.
Yeah, I lose one and I gain one from Granny on.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So I'm even. Okay, let's do it.
That's a pass.
That is a pass. So I get a clue.
Hey.
I'm going to do it again.
I think you should
I get a clue.
have another clue.
I'm going to do it again.
Hey.
Hey! I get a clue.
Yeah.
I think that's great. We could, you could move. Either of us could move up next time.
Yep. Hooray. Okay.
Enemy phase. There are no enemies.
That's how we like
Upkeep
it.
phase.
That's good.
Cool. I've got good cards in my hand. I just feel strongly I should probably have mulliganed aggressively for my engine.
Yeah.
Like I probably should have mulliganed the like really good value cards I had in my hand and just gone, I don't care. I'm going to try and get this engine.
It's hard when you've got a deck full of good cards. And it's also hard when you're playing this deck, with 2 week gaps in between them. Like I find that's the thing that goes quickest for me, because it's the first time I'm picking up my deck in a couple of weeks, is remembering what to mulligan for.
Cool.
If you have any chance of passing or failing an agility test, that's not even a sentence that makes any sense, does it?
I would be effectively taking this test at a +2, which seems reasonable.
Yeah. I realise that the way it works doesn't really work for me at all. Like if you go first and you succeed, I still need to deal with it. And if I go first, I need to deal with it.
If I go first and fail, I at least get the action back.
Yes, that's true. Maybe try it. See what happens.
Well, we should do our Mythos phase first.
Well, if we must. Oh, dear me. I think I'm coming down with a cold. I can feel my throat getting a bit sore. It's really nice.
Everyone's sick at the moment. Some of them with hypothermia. Revelation tests 3 willpower. If the level of your location is 4 or 5, reveal 1 additional chaos token for this skill test. If you fail, either add 1 frost token to the chaos bag or take 1 horror for each point you failed by. So I'll be taking this at a -1, although it is again effectively evens with Granuorn being available.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a lucky in hand. So let's do this. How bad is it to fail this? I think I'm going to exhaust Granuorn and take a single horror. I think I want to save Lucky for something bigger.
Do you take a single horror if you exhaust her?
So this is complicated Salamat. My willpower is a base of 3. -1 from Quick Learner.
Yeah, there we go.
+1 from Granuorn.
Yeah.
So it remains at 3. Yeah, and then I lose by, so it was 3 versus 3. I lost by 2, but I only lost by 1 because I did Granny on.
You could use lucky not to lose at all.
I could use lucky, but I feel like lucky's worth more than exhausting Granny on and taking a horror.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Cool. I also have hypothermia. So let's see what happens with that. I'm 2 up. And I get 0.
Cool.
So it turns out I don't have hypothermia after all. That's
Great.
lucky. And so do you want to try and get out of here and see if through the ice does anything?
Sure. I will be doing this at a +1, and I'm doing it at a +1. What's happening? Why is it not pulling chaos tokens for me?
It's very slow for me as well. There we go. I think my computer's a bit laggy for reasons.
So I failed.
Okay.
Oh, this is. Oh fuck! I forgot. I've already failed to test this turn.
I did.
Which was the logic for me doing this first. So could we do something else instead?
Did you want me to fail it instead?
I wouldn't mind. I will do this test, but I'll do it at the end of my turn, probably.
I think we want to keep moving, so this should be an early...
Yeah, do you know what? Okay, I failed that test, and it cost me 1 of my 4 actions. And I take, what is it, a damage and a horror?
Cancel the effect of the move, take 1 damage and 1 horror, and discard through the ice. Yeah.
Cool. And I got rid of the 3 dice, so that's great. I will now move.
Rocky Ledge. I'm sorry, Jessica. For Shroud.
Fine.
After you move to Rocky Ledge from a location below it, shuffle the top card of the Tekelili deck into your deck without looking at it.
Fine. So the Shroud there is 3 for me at the moment. I would be testing at evens and have ways of getting those clues if needed that I'd be happy to use. So I am going to test at evens.
Boo.
Like my ways of mitigating stuff aren't that good. Let's try that again. Okay.
Right click. Oh dear.
Okay, what a shit turn.
I'm really sorry.
Stop it. Stop giving me more tokens. I don't want them. I don't want your fucking tokens.
I'm going to manually put these back in the bag.
Thank you.
Off we do. Let's go.
You've
made your point. You've had your
absolutely
fun.
Horrific turn.
Yeah,
I'm going to go back to min-maxing, Dave. I don't like this.
I'm not even going to try to say on the bright side because I mean Dexter is grateful for your sacrifice. I can't do anything very useful in this location, however. I can't think of any good way that I can even trigger the Lucky Cigarette case. I can play the Scroll of Prophecies, which I think I should do. And I think I should probably fire it to see if I can get any of my investigate tricks out of the deck. Okay, that looks good. So, Clairvoyance I definitely want because that is an investigate trick. Molly Maxwell is really good. But she is more tutoring. And I can't see that I'm going to get to play her very soon. Hallowed Chalice is very good to have. Again, I'd like to have that later on, but I don't really want it now. I think I will get rid of Molly and hope that the Summon Servitor comes soon. And that's my turn.
Cool.
There are no enemies, so we go straight to our upkeep.
Enemies. Oh, okay. I've got to discard a random card from my hand.
How did you manage that? Oh, sorry.
Because I drew a Tequila card.
I thought that you had randomized your hand and discarded a Tequila card, but no, you didn't do that.
So it'll be whichever the first one is. Okay, that is the one card that I can't really use at the moment. It's a very good card, but all of these cards are very good cards. Okay, game. That's that. If that's how you want to play it, why must you mock me, TTS? Okay. Resourceful. You are going away.
Oh.
Frustratingly, it's also the one card that would have gotten back whatever card I lost had I lost any other card. Like I say, it's the only one I can't actually use right now, so we'll call that the bright side. I feel like my chickens are coming home to roost a little bit from all the Tequila cards I took in.
Who knew that putting shit like actively bad cards in your deck was not a helpful thing to do? I regret to inform you it's time for the Mythos phase. 3 Doom of 6, and encounter cards all round.
You again?
Oh, hello.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we know how to deal with them. I get straw one as well. Hanging on the edge. Oh man. Test 3 agility. If you fail, take 2 damage, lose control of each expedition asset you control, placing it at your location and move to the location directly below you. Oh, that's just awful.
Can help.
Please do, yes.
I'm going to commit neither rain nor snow because that seems pretty bad.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I am 1 down. Wow, TTS is really milking it, isn't it? Come on, let's have a token. You ever gonna come? No? Okay, try again. It's a curse token and a frost token and another frost token, which Avery Claypool will get rid of.
There's no need though, because when you fail, neither rain nor snow will cancel all the effects of the failed test. So don't waste an Avery.
Avery Claypool will stand down. Okay, cool. So the curse token goes out. Those go back. I'll now need to fish the curse token out. There we go. That's such a good card, isn't it?
Yeah. It's one of the many broken Stellar cards. I consider Stellar to be an extremely broken investigation.
Yeah.
A huge amount of fun to play.
Yeah.
But
crazy good.
Crazy good.
Okay. I no longer fall off a cliff, which I'm very happy about.
I feel entirely happy at spending neither rain nor snow on that.
Because that was basically my turn was going to be gone, right?
Your turn was going to be gone, and you were gonna.
Your turn was going to be messed up because I wasn't going to do what I'm about to do, if I may, which is toast the Elder Thing.
To the Elder Thing.
Elder Things roasting on an open fire. So we are 5 versus 3. It's a frost token and Elder Sign. Fantastic. You may return an asset from your play area to your hand, then draw one card. Don't think I want to do that, unfortunately. But yeah,
Yep.
we are on level 1, so the constricting elder thing is constricting no more. I will take a resource and play Clairvoyance. And that's my turn.
Great.
Oh, and I need to. It's not just the first person who moves, it's everybody gets it. Hope for Winfrey style, everybody gets to take a Lily card in the Rocky Ledge.
Cool. I've already had mine. I'm happy. I don't want any more.
You've had your fill, have you, Jessica? I don't think so. I think there's room. A wafer thin to kill a Lily card is just waiting for you.
All right. Can I win at a -2? Is the question. I don't think I can.
Win an investigate action.
Yes. I want the answer to be no, frankly. Okay, I can't win at a -2. And that's where I'd be. Quick Learn takes 1 away,
Yeah.
Granny Orn adds 1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take heart to this test.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh no! I failed. But 2 cards and 2 resources. It's very good. Hello.
How much did you fail by? You failed by more than 2, didn't you?
I failed by 3.
Oh ho! Do it.
I still get the take heart effect, don't I?
You do, but you can also exhaust Granny Orn to fail by 2 and then play. Look what I found.
Yes. So I won't take the 2 resources, so I'll just spend them on look what I found instead.
Yeah.
And clear this location of clues.
Hooray.
Which I should have been getting rid of. I should have gotten rid of the clues when we moved up.
Yes.
But I forgot, but we'll do that in a sec.
Yeah.
So that was my first action. I might use my second action to climb this mountain.
I think you should. I'm in favour of it.
Forced, after you move to deep drifts from a location below it, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Draw each weakness discarded this way. Not my draw engine.
Good. Oh, that's not a bad card to discard, is it? That's bad
It's
card
not.
to discard.
That is a bad card to discard. Here's where I would have liked to have resource for. And I do draw that, don't I?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Which one is that? These 2 resources.
Okay, fine. We're at the point where I'm like, it's all right, who cares? That's the least bad thing you've done to me so far, to kill leader.
So that was your second of 4 actions, right?
Yeah, I will get rid of these clues now. Although I suspect mechanically they do nothing.
That's correct. Yeah. It's just tidying things up really to clear them.
There are cards and investigators who care about how many clues you currently have. I believe there are some seeker cards that are like fight, you get plus.
I've got a
whatever.
plan that's like that. Yeah. And
Yeah,
obviously
that
if
is
you're playing our friend Kate Winthrop, you would care about this.
So that's action 2. Oh, it's only Shroud 1 here. Which means it's going to be labor intensive. But easy.
Yeah.
So I think I'll investigate a 4 versus a +3. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. I think it's the best thing I can do, unless I want to draw for my engine. But I think drawing is actually not necessarily a great thing to do with my deck at the moment.
Possibly not. And yeah, I mean, this, as you're seeing, this scenario is us inching up the mountain and having to clear each location as we go. And trying not to slide back down again.
I get 1 clue. Sure. I get 2 clues. Great.
No enemies. It's the
No
upgrade phase
enemies.
again. Yeah.
That's good. Got a flashlight.
Yeah. Cool. Mythos phase, 4 of 6. There are 2 agendas, it seems. And you get an encounter card.
That I do. Blasphemous Visions. Revelation. Shuffle the top card of Tequila deck into your deck without looking at it. Then put Blasphemous Visions into play in your threat area. Resolve the effect of each Tequila weakness you draw an additional time. And there's a test for 3 willpower to get rid of it, which I believe you can take.
Yes, I can, yes.
I would be very obliged if you did that, because I don't think I want this in front of me.
I don't think you want it in front of you, no. Cool. I draw another Constricting Elder thing. Hello. Good to see you. You want some as well, do you? Happy to oblige, etc., etc. May I go first?
Please do.
Okay. We go Elder Thing Cooking. So 5 versus 3. I am at level 1, so that's a success. The Elder Thing. Sorry. My level doesn't matter whether or not it's a success. It has, however, 1 health, so it's dead.
Does it have 1 health? I thought X was whatever level we're at.
Yes, and I'm at level 1. You're at level 2.
Cool.
Bottom one is level 0. So I do that. I move up. And you would like me to deal...
I would like you to. I did a bit of research. There are 6 Q cards currently in my deck, so 1 in 5. So if you felt like there was something more urgent to do, I wouldn't mind taking a turn, but that's...
I hear you've been having some trouble with Blasphemous Visions, and I'm here to tell you that you don't need to suffer any further. Okay, yeah. So my clairvoyance is decent clue acceleration. But actually, no, it's the upgraded one, which I think is probably better saved for locations that are not One Shroud, because it's a test at 7. So I think actually dealing with the Blasphemous Visions, if we can, is a really good thing to do.
Cool, let's do that.
So
there's a chance I get all 4 clues. Oh, no, I can only get 3, actually. Yeah, I can only get 3 clues this time.
I'm 2 up. And that's a success. So your visions are no longer. Oh, and I had to do something. Oh, I had to do something bad when I moved up. Top 3 cards from my deck. So. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me.
I can see you discarded 2 the same.
Yeah, that's a really nice one to have when I've got a machine gun in my hand that costs a whole load of money.
Yeah.
That's my machine gun reload card. Pseudo reload. Never mind. Sleight of hand. See you later. Sleights of hand? Sleight of hands? Anyway, off they go. You take your turn. Did you take your turn?
Oh, I already took my turn, I thought.
I thought you said you...
Sorry, I did that because I thought it was the upkeep phase.
I don't think it is. No, you haven't... I fried an elder thing, then came up here and...
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Dealt with your visions, and you still have a turn.
Okay, I'm going to take a test that I cannot fail. Right?
I think that's the case. Yeah, you can fail it. I mean, there's always ways. There's the auto fail. But you are 3 versus 2.
Am I 3 versus 2? I'm 2 versus 2 because of quick learner.
No, you're 2 versus 1 if you count it that way.
2 versus 1. Yeah, sorry, 2 versus 1. So let me do a rules clarification. Let's do the bit of this show where you teach me Arkham Horror.
It's my favourite bit.
So it's 2 versus 1. Hypothetically, I draw a -2. I can activate Granny Orn, and then I pass.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That is the same if I draw a -3 or a -5. Yeah? So the number doesn't go below 0.
No, it doesn't work like that. So actually, the two ways that we describe the situation is relevant here. First of all, because it's the test gets +1 difficulty, so we're effectively changing the shroud to 2. And
yes, that's true.
With the bonus from Granny Orn, your stat is 3. Cool. So the way that it works is that your final score after all modifiers have been made cannot be negative. So all modifiers are applied, and if the sum of all of those modifiers is negative, your score gets changed to 0. However, that is lower than 2.
It is. Yeah, let me hang on. Let me just double check.
And,
that is lower than.
Yeah. And if you exhaust Granny Orn, her modifier is applied, but the adjustment to 0 happens after all of those modifiers. So you exhaust her, your if you imagine the flowchart, you exhaust her, your stat gets a +1 if you are using her to give a +1, and then we check again if it's less than 0. So if you get a -4, both before and after you exhaust her, your modified stat is 0. Does that make sense?
It does. I just want to double check that the fact Granny Orn says when I would fail, because surely I'm checking whether I would fail before this kicks in, right? So we've done all of those numbers first.
Yes, but it's all the calculations done again each time you make an adjustment.
Okie dokie. So I can fail this, but also it won't matter very much if I do.
Yeah.
Or I could play a flashlight, and then I think I actually can't fail. But I think
that's correct.
I might save this flashlight for somewhere a bit harder than a 1. Okay, well, I passed it.
I'm so glad we spent 5 minutes discussing that. Hopefully this is good pedagogy for our audience.
So I'm now a 3 versus 1. Great. I'm now a 4 versus 1. Fantastic.
How did you become a 4 versus 1?
Because Quick Learner took me to +1.
Yeah. It's +1 evens. So -1 evens +1. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
But you don't get another action.
I don't get another action because I passed all of my actions, and I didn't I don't have the engine out that incentivizes me to really deliberately fail something.
We do an upkeep phase.
We do.
Okay. That's nice.
That's fine. Don't need that. Okay. It's not a Tequila card. I'll take it.
Yeah. Mythos phase. 5 team of 6. And
I can't talk to you about this. It's a peril. But I will, however, describe it for the audience.
Yeah.
Revelation. Draw the top card to Tequila deck and resolve its effects. I was so close to having a turn where I didn't Tequila. I guess this is a new turn, so I did have a turn.
Mm,
Shuffle it into any investigator's deck instead of placing it on the bottom of the Tekili deck. If no Tekili witness is drawn by this effect, glimpse the unspeakable gains surge. Right.
I mean, they have captured your face when you read this text and realize it's yet another to kill it.
No.
Yeah, that's exactly the vibe.
Hits your turn, lose one action. Otherwise, lose one action during your next turn.
You can't
So
discuss this with me, but I would like, for the purposes of good hashtag content, for you to imagine what I would be saying to you in advice if you could discuss it with me.
Do you know what? I'm a glutton for punishment. There we go. It's going in my deck.
For the viewers at home, it would have been, I think it's fine for you to give it to me. You've had enough of these horrible things.
Yeah.
I won't complain about the decision that was finally taken, but for the record, that's what it would have been. Hey, we get a polar vortex. Oh man, when you end your turn at attached location, each card you control with health, including your investigator, takes 1 direct damage. At the end of the round, discard polar vortex. Oh boy. Well, actually, no, I think we can leave here, but then, can't we? I think we'd be pretty unlucky if we can't get 1 clue off a 1 trad location in the space.
I only have 2 actions this turn, possibly 3 if I fail something. So I might ask if there's any way you can get that clue, so that because if I try and get the clue twice and fail, I will damage myself and Alaya.
I think there is a way that I can get this clue.
Cool.
Let's see how we go. So, I think I need to play the Summon Servitor, which is somewhat unfortunate because I need to discard a asset I control in order to do that. I think we'll get rid of Azure Flame because it's only got 1 use left on it. And let's hope that doesn't come back to bite me. So that's action 1. Action 2 is that... Oh, I have to put one. Here we go. Here it comes. Stepping into the ring. It's the weird spiky lads that we all know and love, the Summon Servitor.
Shouldn't that be action 0? Could you not use your Dexter Drake ability to do it?
I could do, but I would have then to discard another asset. And I feel that that's likely in the long run to cause me a greater loss of tempo than using an action to play the Servitor.
But didn't you discard Azure Flame anyway?
Oh. I like the cut of your jib, Jessica, as I may have mentioned before.
No,
my ability is to play the asset, and the additional cost is to play the Summon Servitor. So I would still have to pay the additional cost, even if I used my lightning ability to play the Summon Servitor.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't realize Summon Servitor had an additional cost, which will teach me for trying to play your deck for you.
No, that's fine. I was grateful of the opportunity to think through it and make sure I was doing the right thing. So that's action 1. Action 2, the Summon Servitor will investigate with a base of 4, so that's 3 up, and we get the clue. Well done.
Great.
What a good boy, as I've mentioned before.
He is a good boy.
Yeah. So that's a free action essentially. I have 2 more, so I'll move up to the next location, which is the snow-covered crags. Forced, after you move to snow-covered crag from a location below it, exhaust each asset you control. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Not going to exhaust all these ones over here because life's a bit too short for that, and it's not good hashtag content. I probably didn't do the only one I really needed to do exhaust was the lucky cigarette case because the rest don't do anything. For my last action in the snow covered crags, I am going to use clairvoyance to investigate. So that's 7 versus 2. Is that a 2? It is a 2. And that's a success. So I get 2 clues. And that was my last action, wasn't it? Play, servitor investigates, move, investigate, yeah. How you doing, Jessica? Has something bad happened to our connection? Oh, I think we've finally encountered some gremlins at this late stage in the evening. And it was all going so well, as the saying goes. I wonder if Jessica's going to hop off and see whether that makes any difference. Yeah, there she goes. And hopefully she'll come back and all will be well. If not, I will try doing that. I feel that we're making good progress through this scenario, actually. I don't recall what the doom clock is on this the second of these 2 agendas. But
Can you see or hear me?
I can hear you but not see you.
Oh, that's weird. Could I suggest you could stop sharing your screen with me? That might help.
Yeah, I will. Did that work?
See, everything's fine on my end. I am not experiencing any issues.
I can see you now, and I can hear you.
Great. So neither are experiencing issues, which is the thing we want.
That is what we want. Cool. You moved, right?
I did.
Are you going to investigate as well? Do you have other things up your sleeve? Oh no, you've gone quiet again. Okay, let me try helping off now. Let me try helping off now and see if that makes any difference. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Great. I was just saying I was debating whether it's best to investigate. I would be doing so. Let's do numbers. 3 versus 2. Or if I should just install my flashlight and get ready to do stuff next turn. So this is I only got 2 actions this turn anyway.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So this is your second action.
Yeah.
In that,
I don't get.
Yeah. In that case, maybe install the flashlight.
Yeah, I think let's do it. I think I'll appreciate having it at some point.
Yeah.
Possibly as soon as next turn.
Cool. Then the upkeep phase. Yeah, that's good.
Cool. That's an extra way I can play my flashlight. Still no sign of any part of my engine.
It's in there somewhere.
It's, I've been through like about a third of the deck, and it's 4 cards in the deck. So I should have seen some of it by now, but I can't complain too much. I'm playing the deck's good enough. It's got so many good cards in it anyway that I think we're doing fine. She said, just as the agenda advanced.
What can possibly go wrong? How about this?
The mountainside splits and erupts with snow. A storm of jagged ice shards bursts forth from the womb of the mountain. Behind it, the beast emerges, a whirlwind of mist, haunting alien shapes, hideous effluvia. It sets its terrible gaze upon your party and reaches for you with a tendril of miasma. Put the set-aside Terror of the Stars enemy into play at the highest level location with 1 or more investigators. So here, where we are.
Yeah.
Each investigator at that location loses control of all expedition assets and places them at their location. Read Scenario Interlude Tragedy Strikes in the campaign guide. I will do that very thing. Find each surviving expedition member, including those currently under investigator's control, who do not have a check mark drawn next to their name in the expedition team section of the campaign log, and choose one of them at random. If there are no such expedition members, skip the rest of the interlude.
Okay, so there are 6 alive. There's 4 in the in this pile here, and then we have 1 each. So I'm going to see if I can find us a dice.
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3, 4 in the pile. Mine is 5, yours is 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. You are getting the shit stick. Elia. Poor
Is it
Elia.
poor resolute Elia?
Yeah.
Not Elia.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. You
So
leveled him
it
up.
all happens. It all happens in the blink of an eye. You have only enough time to scream Elia's name before they are seized. Its many shifting shapes coil around the body. They struggle to escape, but it's hopeless. Then, without a moment of consideration, it shoves its tendrils into its victim's body and yanks them apart like a piece of uncooked meat. A spray of blood stains the snow crimson. It drops what remains of your companion unceremoniously onto the ground and turns its attention to you. In the expedition team section of the campaign log, cross off the chosen character's name. If they were in play, they are defeated and removed from the game. Well, poor Elia.
Deary me.
He had 1 day left till retirement. I mean,
Poor boy. Yeah,
I was excited to actually use his effect.
I know. Now his poor little dog's gonna be like moping outside his tent and whining.
Yeah.
It's gonna be grim.
And this is also mechanically the worst thing that could have happened because we lose the character that we had in play.
Yeah.
I will say, no offense to our dear departed Elia, probably the less useful of the 2 characters we had in play.
Yeah.
But goodbye.
Okay.
Goodbye, Elia.
Actually, I'm gonna fetch him out and put him in one
Yeah,
of the boxes.
Please do. That felt deeply disrespectful, what I just did, to just literally drop his body into the trash. I will now read the next agenda. The once flurrying snow has become a tempest of wind and heavy snowfall. If you don't make it across the peak soon, you'll be forced to take shelter, or spend the rest of eternity as a frozen corpse along the mountainside. Forced, after you move to a location, return all of your clues to the token pool, which I have indeed been forgetting to do.
Reset that.
All right, let's see this horrible thing that we've summoned.
Okay, yeah, the Terror from the Stars.
Yes, please.
The people have called for terror, and terror they shall get. Okay. Hunter massive. +3 health per investigator. X fight. X evade. X is the level of your location. We are on level 3 now.
Okay.
At the end of the round, move all investigators at Terror of the Stars location to the location directly below it.
Okay.
This may not have been the optimum time for me to throw away my kill spell.
It may indeed not have been.
It may also not have been the optimum time for me to have lost the 2 cool events that allow me to put my massive machine gun into play. Yeah, it's bad.
Don't worry, Dave. I can throw a flashlight at it. So if you so if you can do literally 1 damage to it, I will kill it with a flashlight. Probably.
I would sadly have to inform you that it's got 9 health.
Oh fuck.
So
I misread it. I was like, this is fine, who cares?
I'm
It's
not
got
sure
9
what
health.
sort of dickhead overcompensating security guard torch you have intended to throw at this Terror from the Stars, but yeah, it's got to have some big batteries in it.
I meant spotlight. I can throw a spotlight at.
Oh boy.
Well.
Gee, I hope that I really have no answer to this at all. Okay. Oh. We drop all of our things, right?
Yeah. And picking them up again would provoke an attack opportunity.
I am right now going to check the rules about massive enemies because I think I can feel a plan coming on here, Jessica.
I think I know what plan you're planning, and I like it a lot. I like your plan very much.
Yeah. I think we both knew that the time was going to come to throw dynamite at an enemy.
Yep.
And I think you both
That's
know
why we got the dynamite.
Yeah, now is that time. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. It does make attacks of opportunity. We need to evade it if we are not going to suffer those attacks of opportunity. Okay.
So its evade is 3, right?
Yeah. It's a 3/3 in this location. The polar vortex should have discarded at the end of the last round, so I'll just deal with that.
Cool.
Just double checking that I don't have anything cool that the my darling boy can do to help us. No, not at present. So I think first of all, Jessica, I think we should maybe just have a little check-in about the time of day that it is. And
there's a part of me that's tempted to say, I know that we've just, so this is the first part of the Mythos phase. We haven't actually drawn our encounter cards yet.
That's true.
There's a part of me that's really tempted to say this is a great cliffhanger for next time if we can remember the slightly odd place that we've left it.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool, but like it would also be a really cool place to come in next time. Whereas I think if we spend a turn like faffing around, it'll be a less exciting end to the stream.
Yeah.
Faffing around, fighting this thing.
How about we draw our encounter cards and leave them in our threat area?
Yep.
Presuming that at least one of them should have been discarded. And that will be a good aid memoir about where we got to.
Yeah, okay, I'll draw my encounter card. So are we resolving these as well?
I think we should, yeah. How bad is your encounter card?
Not that bad. I don't love it. If you could provide any willpower based help, I would like that. I'd rather.
No, I definitely can't.
Okay.
Sorry, I've just realised that Faustin Bargain is exactly the card I need to be able to afford my machine gun. And I'm in favour of being able to afford machine guns.
I think this now is the time for machine guns.
Yeah.
I have lucky.
As Shakespeare says.
Who put that in there, Dave? What's that doing in the back?
I couldn't tell you. What can I say, Jessica? I heard on the grapevine that you were fond of failing, and I thought, I know just the thing that Jessica will love to pull out that chaos bag. Would you like Avery Claypool to step in and have a word with that frost token?
Yes, please. Actually,
yeah, cool.
It's probably not going to make a huge amount of difference, but let's do it anyway. Okay, I could now play lucky and not take any horror or damage, and I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. And I draw Avalanche.
That seems like a bad thing to have happened right now.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I remember from the scenario and was thinking, oh, shouldn't we have fallen down more often than we have so far? Okay. This is a really well designed card. Revelation. If the level of your location is 1 to 4, move to the location directly below you. Then test willpower X. X is the level of your location. If you fail, repeat this process. If you did not move by this effect, Avalanche gains surge.
0, 1, 2. I think we're only at level 3.
We are at level 3.
Okay. But it was 1 to 4. It's okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
So I will test 5 versus 3. Yes. Interesting situation. In this turn of ours, I would like to be in a different location. Oh no. The dynamite. Sorry.
The dynamite.
The spare parts are in this location, and we definitely want them.
Yeah.
I never knew quite how much it was possible to want dynamite until this very moment. But boy, do I want it. Okay, so I think it's time for a ward of protection. Happily, if you did not move by this effect, Avalanche gains surge as part of the revelation ability on this card. So I take a horror, a lose resource, which is a little bit sad, but I'll accept it, and I will cancel Avalanche.
Okay.
Okay, and we're gonna leave these in our threat areas to remind us of where we got to.
I did not fail that test because I played lucky. Okay. So I have the normal number of actions.
Okay.
Okay.
That's our cliffhanger, Jessica.
That's our cliffhanger. Very exciting. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do about this enormous monster, but this does feel like the Arkham experience. I know
we're going to do some combination of throwing dynamite at it and machine gunning it, and I'm here for both of those things.
And possibly the coup de grace, maybe throwing a torch at it, which I would really enjoy.
Just boom, 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 boom. Thunk.
And another thing.
Yeah. Excellent. Good. Well, that's something to look forward to next week. If I wasn't ill and you didn't have a Netrunner game to play in about half an hour,
Oh yeah, I do.
I would be very keen to do all of that stuff. But I think also it would make it slightly awkward because probably I don't have the gumption for the rest of the whole scenario, and it's a bit, yeah. We don't want just a little rump of like 2 locations to have to do with next week. We'll have a good fight on our hands, possibly
Yeah,
some
I think this is.
avalanches, quite possibly getting to the top of the hill.
Yeah,
with all of our stuff, and yeah.
yeah, this feels like a good scenario. I'm enjoying this a lot. Let's say good night.
Indeed. Thanks very much. This has been loads of fun.
Indeed.
Good night, everybody. And
Good night, everyone.
are you? We're getting quite close to the time when people stop being available to do things. Are you available to stream next week, Jessica?
The 21st, I believe so.
I believe I am as well.
I should double check that, but I do believe I am.
Okay.
I think it's just before life starts to get like unreasonably hectic.
Yeah, same here. So all being well, we will see everybody next week. And yeah, thanks for spending time with us. Lots